Good morning, students. We started with the first chapter, power sharing, wherein we discussed the case study of two countries, Belgium and Sri Lanka. And I explained you what is the ideology, that is majoritarianism, that was followed in Sri Lanka and how it led to civil war, and how wonderfully the government of Belgium, on the contradictory note, established equality among the citizens by giving equal representation to the sections in the society, and also coming up with a third level of government, that was community government. Now I will start with the topic why power sharing is desirable. That is, why do we need power sharing? Power sharing is good because it helps to reduce the possibility of conflict between social groups. When you divide power, people feel participated, people get an idea that we are also being accommodated. So, social conflict often leads to violence and political instability. People among themselves they fight when one section, like it happened in Sri Lanka. So, when they feel that they all have equal powers, fundamental right is for everyone equally, legal right is for equally everybody, they feel participated, and there are very, very less chances of social conflict. So, the first reason is this: imposing the will of majority community over others. It may look like an attractive option, but every action has a reaction, and then some or the other day, the minority will come to the forefront to demand for their rights. So, tyranny of the majority is not just oppressive for the minority, it brings ruin to the majority as well. So, it is that if you are suppressing the minority, it is not that only minorities will suffer. When there would be reaction in the form of war or riots, even the majority section will suffer the setback. There is a second deeper reason why power sharing is desirable. Power sharing is also desirable because it is the very spirit of democracy. A democratic rule demands, the essence of a democratic rule is that there should be power sharing, because democracy talks about equality, liberty. All these essence of democracy can only be established when there is a feeling of participation, and participation can only be there when we establish power sharing. A democratic rule involves power sharing with those affected by its exercise. People have a right to be consulted on how they are to be governed. And a legitimate government, that is a legally elected government, is one where citizens through participation acquire a stake. Stake is interest. So these reasons are prudential and the second reasons are moral. So there are two sets of reasons. Prudential reasons stress that power sharing will bring better outcomes. And moral reasons are that democracy, if you want democracy to function successfully, power sharing has to be there. Then the last subtopic is forms of power sharing. So first form is among different organs of government. That is legislature, executive and judiciary. They all have their own powers and they are on the same platform. No organ is greater than the other one. So legislature makes laws, executive executes, and judiciary interprets laws and establishes law and order. So this is called as horizontal distribution of power because they all are at the parity. And then there is a system of check and balance as well. The organs they keep a check on each other. Then power can be shared among government at different levels. So most of the times I have explained to you this, that we have three levels of government in our country, and the power is divided between central government and state government. In the constitution itself it is divided. There is a schedule, seventh schedule, which talks about the distribution of power between central and state. And the lowest level, that is PRI or municipalities, it depends upon the state. How much power do they want to delegate? So now this is called as vertical distribution of power, because here the distribution of power is unequal. The third is power may also be shared among different social groups, as it happened in Belgium, between the religious group, between the linguistic groups, between the weaker sections and between the stronger sections of the society. Like we have a concept of reserved constituency. Reserved constituency means what? Certain areas or constituency are reserved in our country for the people who belong to SC and ST community. This is done to empower them. Maybe by the means of election they do not get adequate representation in parliament. So at least by the means of reserved constituency, they get adequate representation. So this is how power can be divided. And then power sharing arrangements can always be seen in the way political parties, pressure groups and movements. So we have different political parties, they have their own power. One who is in opposition, then the other smaller parties. They have the right to bring to the forefront the pros and the cons or the ifs and the buts associated with the ruling party. Then we have pressure groups, the groups which create pressure on the government. There can be public interest group, sectional interest group, and movements. If you remember, there was a very strong movement out of which Arvind Kejriwal emerged. Movement against corruption, which built a pressure on government to establish Lokpal as an authority to keep a check on corruption in public offices. So Arvind Kejriwal is a result of this movement. So that is how pressure group and movements and political parties, they can create a kind of a pressure on a government. So they also have their own power. So in a democracy, the citizens must have freedom to choose among various political parties, and that is what is called as competition. And if you would have heard about a term called as coalition government, then again there is a division of power between political parties. When one political party is unable to secure the number of seats required to form the government, number of political parties come together to form government. Then again there is power sharing between different political parties. So that is how, what are the forms of power sharing. So we are done with lesson 1. We'll continue with lesson 2 in the next lecture. Thank you and take care.